Welcome to your Science and Tech briefing for January 4th, 2026. It really feels like the future is just showing up faster and faster these days, doesn't it? Today, we're going to talk about AI hitting a massive turning point, and then we'll get into a wild debate about, well, the end of everything. Let's break down the news that's literally reshaping our world as we speak. So let's kick things off with AI. Because honestly, what's going on right now, it's not just another software update. It feels like something much, much bigger. We're talking about a fundamental shift, an acceleration that you can almost feel happening in real time. And this all connects back to our planet's climate, because there's a staggering number floating around, $26 trillion. That's how much of our global financial assets are at risk. And a number that big, well, it's forcing some really surprising changes we'll get into. We're also going to see how big tech's just insatiable hunger for more and more power is sparking a quiet but massive revolution in our energy grid. And to wrap it all up, we're gonna go big. I mean, as big as it gets. We're talking about a cosmic question that has scientists second-guessing everything they thought they knew about how the universe will end. All right, before we get into the heavy stuff, let's start with a few quick headlines from the world of astronomy. First off, just yesterday, planet Earth hit a point in its orbit called perihelion. Now, all that means is it was our closest flyby of the sun for the year. So if the sun looked just a tiny bit bigger and brighter to you, that's why. At the same time, keep an eye on the sky, because astronomers are getting really excited about a comet with the catchy name C/2025 R3 Pan-STARRS. The big question on everyone's mind is this going to be the great comet of 2026? We'll have to wait and see. And hey, if you get a chance, look up tonight. You'll catch the very first full moon of the year. It's called the Wolf Moon, and this one's special because it's also a supermoon. That just means it's going to look extra big and bright up there. Okay, let's dive into our top story, the insane acceleration we're seeing in AI. Seriously, it feels like we're finally moving past all the hype and into a phase of real, deep change. The speed of it all is, well, it's just staggering. You want to get a sense of the speed? Just look at the last couple of months. Back in December, an OpenAI model passed a key benchmark for artificial general intelligence, which is a huge deal. Then, bam, in just a few weeks this January, a competitor drops an even more powerful model. NVIDIA jumps in, announcing plans for what's basically a personal AI supercomputer. And to top it all off, a $500 billion joint venture for US AI infrastructure gets announced. See what I mean? This isn't a slow burn, it's a full-on explosion. And this creates a brand new reality for pretty much every industry out there. The message couldn't be clearer. Adapt or get left behind. We're already seeing some companies boosting their productivity by 30, even 40% using these tools. So, the question isn't if this is happening anymore, it's how fast you can keep up. So what this all adds up to is a massive structural shift in how things work. I mean, just think about it. Decisions that used to take weeks of meetings can now be made in minutes. We're seeing whole new business models just pop into existence. And it's not just happening on some giant server farm in the cloud. Thanks to these smaller, super efficient models, powerful AI is coming to our phones and laptops. They're becoming these little AI agents that can just handle all the tedious stuff for us. But here's the thing. This massive AI build-out, it doesn't just happen in the digital world. All that computing power needs a mind-boggling amount of energy, and that's having a huge impact on our physical world, specifically our energy grid and, you guessed it, our climate. And this leads to something I bet you didn't see coming, a nuclear power renaissance, and it's being driven by Silicon Valley of all places. Yeah, to power these gigantic AI data centers, tech companies are actually skipping the old utility companies and investing directly in nuclear power. Why? Because they need massive amounts of reliable, carbon-free energy, and they need it now. But AI's role in energy isn't just about building new power plants. It's also about making the ones we already have way smarter. Take wind turbines, for example. AI is being used to create these perfect digital twins, virtual copies, to figure out the absolute best way for them to run and even predict when they'll need repairs. It's making renewables more reliable and efficient than ever before. And let's not forget the money involved, because the stakes are just enormous. The IMF estimates that by 2050, climate change could put $26 trillion of global assets at risk. When you hear a number like that, you start to understand the urgency behind this whole tech-fueled energy revolution. Okay, so this tech revolution isn't stopping at our computers and power grids. Nope. It's going even deeper. It's actually merging with biology itself, and it's set to fundamentally change everything from the food we eat to the materials we build with. So, a key piece of this puzzle is a technology called precision fermentation. Now, the easiest way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like programming microbes. Scientists use gene editing to basically give tiny microorganisms a set of instructions, telling them to produce specific proteins, fats, you name it, all on demand. And the impact of this is just huge. We're talking about creating things like dairy-free cheese that's on a molecular level identical to the real thing. It helps us build supply chains that can actually stand up to climate change. And it gives us more sustainable ways to make ingredients like palm oil. This is exactly why all the big food companies are pouring money into this field. And then there's this, which sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Get this. Scientists have successfully 3D printed glowing electronic circuits inside a living creature. Yeah, they did it with nematode worms, and it completely blurs the line between biology and electronics. It really makes you wonder about the future of things like medical implants, right? Wow. Okay, so we've covered AI, energy, and the microscopic world of biology. For our final story, let's zoom all the way out. I mean, as far out as you can possibly go, and ask the biggest question there is. What is the ultimate fate of our universe? For decades, this has been the ultimate question in cosmology, right? We had the Big Bang, but what comes next? How does this all end? Now, for a long time, the most popular theory was something called heat death. Basically, the universe just keeps expanding forever until everything is cold, dark, and empty. A bit grim. But some really interesting new data has got some scientists dusting off an older idea, the Big Crunch. In this version of the story, the universe's expansion eventually slows down, stops, and then reverses, with everything collapsing back into a single point. And they even have a timeline for it, roughly 33 billion years from now. I know, a fiery collapse sounds pretty terrifying, but for some scientists, it's actually a really compelling idea. It leaves us with this one final mind-bending question. If there's a big crunch, does that mean the universe could be reborn afterwards? Could the whole cosmic cycle just start all over again? It's definitely something to think about as we keep trying to solve the biggest mysteries out there.